The Bible calls them your olive tree.
This is Divine Connection, talking sex. Take one.
Let's talk about sex.
And so
baby.
That's the difference. The difference is there's a man now who's seen life with purpose. I look at my wife now and I see my sister. Do you know Solomon in the Song of Solomon, he calls his bride first his sister. His sister, then my bride. The first picture he called her my sister, then he called her my bride. How many husbands have referred or still see their wives as their sister? It's hard. And I'm not saying you're physical, but that sister of, I'm a son of God. You're a daughter of God. You're my sister. You're just as important to God as I am. You're sorry about the shot. Oh, you didn't get it. You received the blessing God is spread. You know? Oh, you didn't receive it. That's why you received this thing, you know? So that's the thing, and that's from some of the things that people don't realize. Christians, what God has given us through this dispensation in Christ is not law. God is not giving us rules or principles. God has given us identity. God has given us a reality of ourselves, of who we are before Him and also on earth through Christ. He's put in Christ and He's given us the adoptions of sonship. So we are receiving an identity in this gospel. That's the big difference in this whole thing. God is naming you child. He's saying, you are my son, in whom I'm well pleased. And because of that identity, you begin to act like this. If I force you to be something that you're not, I'm just going to frustrate you. However, if I put something in you, if I put something in you that identifies you, the Bible says, I put my spirit in them that bears witness. If your spirit, that you are a son of God, wherefore you cry out, Abba, Father, because of the spirit of the Son He's put in you. So I believe the husband, the Christian husband, if he allows the identity that God has placed in him through Christ to affect his life for long enough, he will begin to see the purpose of his wife. I think he'll begin to treat her differently. He'll begin to see her differently. I think where we fail as men is to realize that a woman, whoa, and I'm learning that.
As Andre said, blanket statement.
Blanket?
No blanket statement.
Oh yeah, I was going to say this, I was going to say one of the things I think we would do would be, I forgot what we're saying.
You said, where do you think we fail as men?
Yeah, right. That to please a woman in the bed is really not your performance in the bed, as it might look. The reason I was telling Andre about recently a girl I spoke to over the phone, and we were talking, and we ended up into this sexual conversation. Now, as the average Christian, this is dangerous territory. You should not get into this kind of conversation. But she ended up telling me that she is. I ended up asking her. I can't remember entirely how we got there, but I asked her a question through the conversation that we got there. So I asked her, "How are you orgasmic?" I use a certain word, but how do you reach orgasm? She's like, "Oh, I'm not vaginally orgasmic. I am clitorally orgasmic." So I told her, "Oh, well, I believe the reason why you're like that is because of things you've had experienced in the past. Maybe you've been molested by a cousin when you were younger, and that has affected your sexuality." And she was on the phone, she's like, "Yes, that's what happened. Literally, my cousin molested me." And I believe that molestation has affected her sexuality. It has removed from her self-value. It has removed from her ability to be loved by another man. She doesn't trust people anymore, trust the men that she's with, because she can't deliver herself to the man who's for her. And so guess what? She cannot be satisfied vaginally. You understand what I mean? To people, somebody said something, oh, well, it's not abnormal for that to be the case. Most women aren't. And I said, no, that's wrong. Because, I'm going to get graphic. The man was made for the woman, you know what I mean? The penis was made for the vagina. Am I getting graphic? It's made for, which means whether short, long, deep, wide, whether deep, wide, long, short, it is made to bring satisfaction to one another. So if a woman cannot be stimulated in that area, something has happened that has removed that. And that's what I'm saying, pleasure doesn't just come from a man's performance. It is from how he makes her feel. It's the love that she's getting from the value that she gets from him, the intimacy that she receives from him. Neither are we. We as men aren't always physically satisfied either. There is a part, I'm trying to be careful how I go about it. We are also...
You already said all the graphics?
Yeah, not really.
How graphic can you get?
Men are turned on by... You know what? Okay, I'll say this way. The most powerful thing about sex, bro, is not orgasm. The most powerful thing about sex is your realization that I am bringing this pleasure to her. You're looking at her.
And it's vice versa.
Yeah, just vice versa. You're seeing that you are bringing this to her, and you're taking pleasure in that, and she's probably, or you, and I'm saying that you are saying,
That's good.
and you are
That's
also
good.
saying, wow, she is making me feel this good. This
In
is
the process of
this
doing
is
it.
she. Yeah, this is she. Yeah, but that's what's really happening. You're looking at her in awe, like, wow, you are bringing this pleasure to me, and I am bringing this pleasure to you, and you guys are happy to share this moment. That's why it's so, there's a thing, when I used to have sex.
But can I say this though, is very funny, but like this is just my philosophy. I believe that like sex is so personal, and it should be experienced like by the two individuals having sex. Like this, it should not even come out from the room.
Excuse me.
Not only if you was there with a girl. You should know what pleases her, and she should know what pleases you, and that should be in there. When you bring it out from the room,
How do you know?
Hey,
no, when you bring it
Chill
out
out.
from the room as a method, you're taking a next man now, and he's taking that thing, and he's trying
You're
to
gonna use it. That's why I'm not
Exactly.
giving anything specific. I'm just
Exactly.
saying if you have to be, because everybody's.
That's the best part of it. I thought, like, because I mean, thinking honestly, can I be like honestly, like I've never thought about like that before. Like, I'm pleasing her or whatever. I think it was like an opportunity that we're both enjoying it. So I wasn't thinking like, okay, I'm bringing out pleasure. You understand what I mean? That's what I'm trying to tell
No, but the different
It's so
mindset-
personal.
the
Like,
different people
she would say, do
accept it.
this, move it there, do that, and you know, no. Wait, let me tell you. I know the camera is serious.
This is Pastor Gordon.
No.
Question.
blackmail. He said, move it there.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Right? And the first time, right?
Like good, right?
And Bahadur.
Okay, let me give you a story.
You learn.
Let me give you a story. Let me give you a story. That's
Oh, wait. Before we go any further, what are we talking about? Where we at now?
We're